So remember, now we have actually just described how the converter works. One of the other things that we want to do is we want to maybe look once more what we currently implemented. And one of the programs, as you can see, is this check program. That's pretty interesting, right? Because I can, for example, now say check minus source equal catalog. This thing will now go out and invoke a check on all the files that we have, and there's nothing wrong there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now let's see what we have implemented, where the check has been implemented.
So was the check like just for syntax that would be?
Yes, it's for syntax. That's right. So one of the things that I've done is I have used the YAML lint program to check this particular entry here, right? And this is what YAML lint does. It actually just checks this. Now, one of the things that we found out is when we go into this particular program, it just executes the YAML lint. But what we could do is we could be reading it into an entry, right? So we could be saying entry equal to now read file. And now what's our file name? Our file name is the file name here, right? So we read now the file name into the, or we already have done this, the content. So this is the content that we actually have, right? And
so you could just call content.
But this, let me see if we do this correctly. Yes, so we could just use content here. So we have the content in there, but the content we want to now create into a YAML file. Or into a dictionary. So how do we do this?
Create a new dictionary.
YAML dot load, safe load, safe load of content.
Okay.
And
so
I don't
would actually create a dictionary for you.
I hope so.
Oh.
I sometimes don't remember these details anymore. So we want to import YAML so that we can benefit from that function. So since I don't remember exactly anymore how this works, I simply say print entry. Now I will be printing a lot of things out. I just now the one thing is we do this in each, and then I simply say return, so that I only do one of them. And let's see what happens when I do this. So YAML has no attribute safe load. YAML load content, right? So now we need to figure out how to use YAML. Okay. Okay, we need to have some kind of. Can you figure out how do we use YAML safe load? So for some reason I don't remember anymore.
Yeah, let me look here.
So we need to actually import, I think, a loader here. So YAML load.
So you have the import YAML, and then you have the read in the YAML file.
Yeah. So and then we need to have another one, loader, or maybe it's YAML loader. YAML loader equal to YAML dot safe load. Maybe like this. So can you figure out how to do this?
Yeah, so however you read in that file, if you take in that
Let's find it out with the Google search. and give me the concrete answer. Okay, I think we made a mistake initially in the program. It's called YAML save underscore load, and I think I just did a save load. Why is this no longer working?
As files.
Okay, so this seems to be working. So now we just need to figure out how to use YAML. That shouldn't be that difficult.
Is safe load all a function? So safe underscore load underscore all.
Content is a list because we split lined it. See?
Oh, okay.
So what we need to do is just read it in again. So we just say here content. You guys can make it more pretty. Okay, so it hasn't actually anything to do with the YAML. It's just like that I didn't do the correct thing. Okay, so we have the content, we have the entry, and now we print one of them. So now you see all these values. Yeah, we can naturally pretty print them. So now, as you can see, is we have modified date, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we read from this entry here our modified entry of modified. Okay, then the other thing is we can now do a loop, right? Because we also have created.
Yeah.
So we can say for date
modified or something.
Modified and created colon, and then we now have a date function here, but we can now read the entry. So we can say entry of date, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is our entry. Let's call it value. Now we need to check the value, right? So how do we check the value if the value is correct?
First off, I would see what value actually is equivalent to, but just like print value just to see what we're kind of getting.
Well, but we already know that we want to start with the year, right? So year,
yeah,
months, and so forth. There must be a function that verifies if value is correct. There's a Python function that does this in date time.
Okay.
You guys look for it. However, now I'm implementing a poor man's version of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I simply say year, comma, year, month, and day, right? That's what they have, equal to a value dot split on the dash, right? Mm-hmm. Now, if I try this, then I'm already one step closer. But if I don't try, if I say accept, I have an error, right? I need to I need to be printing out an error. So I simply say print error. And actually I have a nice error function that's called console. So we can say from cloudmesh common console. So now I can simply say print console or console dot error, and then time format in, and now which timer we were in date wrong. Since this is an F string, just let's put the F string here in front, okay? So now, how do I know when this thing is also wrong? So if the year, for example, is not 4 characters.
Yep.
So I simply say raise, or if len of year is unequal 4, then I simply raise value error of
Raise value error.
I can just duplicate this. I don't even have to be that complicated. I can just do this. Okay. So now I take out here my debug statement. And I just run this and see what happens when I do that. Okay, see, we have many wrong date formats, but now
are those all the wrong date formats?
All the wrong date formats in the catalog. So now, what did we not do?
We only did date.
We did not put the file name in.
Okay, so that's actually to show you.
Yeah, that shows me now the file name add, and when I now do this, I now see all the file names that have the date format wrong. We are not yet sure if the second one is wrong or correct, right? We don't know if the month is correct or not, right?
Because that was only when year. So after you fix year, you could go through.
So far, we only have tested for the year. So now let's test for the day. If the day, or if the month is greater than what?
12.
12, then we have an other error. Here we have year format. Here we have a month format. And then the other thing is we can check actually if the date is 1 greater equal or yeah, if the month is
less than 1 or greater.
We can test when it's valid. If the month is greater equal 1 and the month is smaller equal 1, then it's correct, right?
Right.
But if you have a not of this, it's incorrect. Right?
Right.
So now we do this for the day. So if the day is greater than 1, but not smaller, day is smaller than 31, right? Then we definitely have a date format issue. So this also means this is if for some reason you have the day to be 59, you will get a wrong error. So now let's test this out if we haven't done any mistake. So we still get all the wrong date formats, But now look at this.
Even more.
We get even more. So it looks like that we have the format wrong. So now what we want to give the guy a hint is we have year, 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 months, months, day, day. Right?
And this is, so this format is only taking in year, year, month, month, day, day. So if the operator, or like if the user wanted, if we wanted to go in and change it to where it's a different value, let's say month first, day, then year, this function would break.
Yeah, yes. You can certainly modify, write a program that automatically changes all these values to this correct value, but this is not my problem. That is you guys' problem.
Yeah.
So I would actually say this is just fix it by hand. And, you know, as you now see, as we give here a warning, maybe all of these entries are wrong, or maybe this test that we have just implemented is not correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there could be many different reasons, but it doesn't look like that these are all entries. Well, let's see, there's only Amazon, Alibaba, Azure. So I see, for example, not the SAP entries. Right.
That could be the SAP entries don't even have a day or.
So now we commit this. Make a date check for modified and created. Yeah. And the thing is you guys need to decide what format you want, and that you need to be implementing it. If you want to have day, day, months, months, year, year in this thing, which is also a valid choice, then we need to do it that way. But we need to be making sure that we update our programs to go towards the convention that we have. Mm-hmm. So now you have seen how easy it actually is to change the converter. So it's easy to add any arbitrary command. So the or template. So the thing you guys have not to do is reinvent the wheel, because this is all implemented, right? So I did that.
Yeah. And so when you actually call that error,
is add to this, understand how this works, so that you can add to this. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So when you actually called that error, you called catalog check source.
Right. So I have. So if you don't remember this command anymore, you type in CMS catalog. It lists you all the catalog, the commands, and that's the reason why you don't have to write them down, right? Because they're existing right there. The only thing you have to do is just call CMS catalog, and this was the command I invoked in order to run the checker.
Okay.
So now the checker that we have not only runs YAML lint, but it also runs this other thing. So now let's just take a look. My checker is a little bit more intelligent. So because, oops, I copied the wrong line. I always do that. This is now my program, right? So I can cat this entry, but I can also, from the command, issue another checker. And that's the checker that I'm actually using in my program. And it actually says to me, oh, there are some errors in this thing, right? And the errors you find, for example, is that there's in line number 36. So if I can say, for example, cat -n gives me the line numbers. In line number 36, the line is too long. In line number 37, the line is too long. However, they include HTTPS entries. And so therefore, I'm just ignoring them. Ignore that this error occurs. And this is what I've implemented here. So I'm running the YAML lint, redirect the output. Then I go through each entry that I find which line that thing was. If in that line is an HTTPS, I ignore it. That's what this thing does.
So the system, or you know, the catalog like runner that doesn't like when you use HTTPS
No, look,
description.
no, that what I'm saying to you is this YAML lint reports to me that there's an error here. The error says the line is too long.
Oh, so it's just a line one.
However, I can have a URL that's incredibly long and I will never be able to fix it because YAML lint reports your line is too long.
Yeah.
However, the other lines here is good to have, that they are block formatted in a particular format and that they're not too long, right?
Yeah.
And so what this program does is applies the line too long on all of these, other than the lines that have an HTTPS in it.
Okay.
And this is what's implemented. And so now we have, in addition to that, implemented the date format. If you figure out something else is done, so one of the things we, for example, set is we have their date format in this thing, but we can also check if entry of, remember there was an ID there somehow. I don't remember, was it an ID or an underscore?
Yeah, it was ID and then equals like unknown.
Yeah, so ID we have if now, this is really interesting. So we can do another console thing here. We can say, okay, if I remember there was a missing in ID, but oh no, we have to do the other way around. The ID entry gives us the value, so we read the value. If the value is in missing or unknown, that's the same way of doing it with an or, but this way you don't have to write or, because we could have many more entries such as this. Then we have another error. We have an error that says
unknown needs no, it's fine. My bad. I thought
we can also do a lower, because whoever knows if someone types in missing lowercase or uppercase. So now we can say here simply ID is not specified, and file name ID equal to, and now we just simply say entry of ID. I'm not so sure if that will work so well. Wrong. So now let's see if we find something. We may actually want to do the following thing here. We want to say E4. Just like in the other program that we had, right? So in the other, so this way it's a little bit easier to read. So when we run this now here, I'm not sure if there even comes something up. I don't know if we have, because remember the missing was being done as part of the template, not as part of the catalog.
Mm-hmm.
But now we have it, and as you see, now we have an ID error here.
Okay.
So now we have all the entries.
So it's actually just going through and checking everything for
everything, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you find something that
even more,
then you can put more checks in here. as you can see, this is relatively trivial to enhance. Okay.
Mhm.
Do you have any further questions concerning this? Because then we go to the next.
No, this is yeah, it's really kind of mind opening. I don't have any more questions.
So I will stop now again the recording, and then I will